you ever had a fear that felt inherited or completely unexplained? Maybe you have a paralyzing fear of deep water, but you've never had a bad experience at a pool or a beach. Or maybe the sight of fire makes your heart race, even though you have never been near a house fire. We're often told that our phobias come from childhood trauma or learned behaviors. But what happens when there is no logical explanation? What happens if you can't explain the way you feel? I remember having a friend in elementary school, and she was so incredibly afraid of even the thought of fire. So when we had fire drills, she would have full-blown panic attacks. And we were 11, maybe 12 years old. No one understood why. She had never been in a fire. She had never had a scary experience that anyone could recall. And everyone treated it like it was irrational. But in the world of soul history, nothing is actually irrational. Today I want to talk to you about the fears you were born with, the ones that aren't actually yours, but are memories your soul is still carrying. Think of the soul like a hard drive. When you're born into a new body, that drive is mostly wiped so you can start from scratch, you can start fresh. But sometimes a few are corrupted files, I guess you could say. They stick around, and if a past life ended in a way that was sudden or traumatic, or maybe just left a deep impression on your soul, that might be left in a open file as a way to protect you in this life. Your soul thinks it's helping. It's saying, hey, remember what happened last time? Let's stay away from that. The difference between a this life fear and a past life memory is the trail. If you're afraid of dogs, you can probably remember being chased by one when you were 5. But a past life fear has no origin story in your current timeline. It's visceral, it's immediate, and it often shows up for the very first time when you're exposed to the trigger. You aren't experiencing a new trauma, you're experiencing a residual memory. And it's something your soul hasn't quite figured out how to close yet. We think if we can't explain it in a PowerPoint or a therapy session, then it must not be real. But that's not a guess, that's your soul's data. In the world of soul history, these phobias are actually a compass. They are pointing you exactly toward where your soul still needs a little bit of closure. For example, fear of fire or heat, like my friend at school. This is often a residual memory of how a previous life ended. Fear of sharp objects or knives. This can point to a memory of a specific injury or even a betrayal of someone close to you. Or fear of suffocation and tight spaces. This often relates to lives where someone was trapped or maybe even executed. We use the word irrational when we don't have the full data. But once you see the past life context, the fear isn't irrational at all. It's actually a very logical response to a past event. You're just operating on old data that hasn't been updated for 2026. And once you understand the story behind the fear, the glitch starts to make sense. You stop feeling like you're broken and you realize you're just remembering. So how do we start to deal with this? The most powerful thing you can do is begin to witness the journey of your soul. When you explore a past life, the goal isn't necessarily to fix yourself or to delete the file immediately. It's about being the observer. It's about going back and saying, okay, I see what happened. I see why I've been carrying this. Just by witnessing that old story, you start to tell your nervous system that the event is over. You're showing your soul that you are in a different body, you're in a different timeline, and maybe even more importantly, that you are safe. This allows that specific corrupted file to finally be archived. You aren't letting it go through sheer willpower. You're letting it go through the understanding that your soul's history is much bigger than just this one life. I'm Amanda, the intuitive wife, and I want to know, do you have one of those unexplained fears that just doesn't fit into your life today? Drop it in the comments and let me know. Let's see how common these corrupted files actually are. And if you want to be here when we unlock the next file in the series, make sure you hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.